CFG Game Cast, episode number 218, a weekly podcast created by gamers and streamers that like to discuss the latest gaming topics from the previous week. We stream a new episode every weekend and release it on all podcast services at the beginning of each and every week. So do us a favor and show us some love by liking, following, subscribing, sharing on our YouTube page, the CFG channel, or go to our main website, confreaksandgeeks.com, to not miss an episode. I am Mr. CFG Games himself, Davis Green, and with me today, I got my two awesome co-hosts. I got Lex in the second seat. What is going on, my cyborg?
Ooh, well, fun fact, it's my birthday. I know, very excited.
Yeah.
And then got me some new rings, which is oh so fun. Look at how pretty. So yeah, I've just been kind of hanging out this week. I didn't do much. I'm mostly laid in bed, if I'm being honest. I haven't been feeling great. Or as my therapist would say, working through trauma. So, but I am feeling much better. I think I will be back on Monday. Fingers crossed. But yeah, I did a lot of adulting this week. I finally was able to get health insurance. I've been calling for a month and a half, leaving voicemails every single day. Nobody would call me back. So that was fun. Finally got a hold of them yesterday and got the bad news that it won't start till June 1st. I was like, oh, of course, I need to see a specialist this week, but that's fine. That's fine. So yeah, also did big girl other things, because apparently you show people 16 pages of paperwork and they say you're good to go, and then they message you saying, why is this in someone else's name and not in your dad's name? I'm like, because the man died, and they're like, when? We didn't know that. What do you mean? I sent you an email 2 years ago. So I had to take care of a few other things this week. It was like everybody just forgot he died, which I thought was kind of funny in retrospect. But yeah, I just kind of been laying around, relaxing, recuperating. I'm feeling better. I don't feel weak anymore, which is good. I hate when you feel icky and then you're weak for you feel very shaky for a whole week after. Finally through that. So feeling much better. I got my spiffy glasses so I can see all of the colors now, like you normal folk age, which is fun. So I'm excited to actually wear them and play a video game.
Nice. Well, that's good.
That would be fun.
That is very, very good. That's good. Well, happy birthday. So what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do on celebrating your 21st?
Oh, probably just take shots at home. No, Adam asked if I wanted to go to dinner tonight. I was like, if I did, I want to go to Golden Steer. But if you've ever been to Vegas and if you've ever been to Golden Steer, you know how delicious and amazing that restaurant is. I know. Oh, really? Oh, when you come in town for Evo, I'll have to take you out. My family of musicians, my dad used to play the piano there because it's very fancy in a tuxedo. So I spent many New Year's Eve sleeping behind him on a on a blanket in the middle of this beautiful lounge. I would just kind of be hidden behind him. So I've met all the owners and everyone that works there, and they've all worked there for 30 plus years. So whenever I want to eat, they're like, yeah, come on, we'll find you a table. We're packed, but it's fine. You want to be in the kitchen? I'm like, sure. So okay. They're fantastic. Golden Steer.
Okay.
It's
well, that's cool.
Heads up.
That's cool. Well, it's good. Well, I'm glad you're having a good weekend so far. And also, we got a special guest today. We got Donk returning back here just from the gym, if you could tell. So yeah, so
big buff baby. That's me.
Yeah, yeah. He's just been he's here. How's it going, dude? How's your week been?
My week has been pretty good. Just working, twerking. Been basically similar to Lex. I've been waiting for her birthday all week, so making lots of plans.
And Davis got me you for my birthday. I'm so happy.
Yep. Everybody got together.
Yeah, there you go. Just for you. It's your day. Aww, there you go.
I know.
Excuse me not dressing in my monocle and top hat today, though, too. But there you go. These are the limitations.
I apologize.
Yes, there you go. Yeah, but in the Yeah. And as for me, I've been, like, as always, just super busy. I wanted to stream this week. I couldn't. I am still too busy to do Marvel Rivals because I did get into the alpha, which I'm wanting to get in and mess around with. Yeah. It's, but still haven't been able to do it. We have time though. It's like till it ends. It's 10 days. So we're going to be good. Okay. Yeah. So we'll see how
my work email in like 3 weeks.
Yeah, so I've been wanting to do that, and then also been playing a lot of. It's actually weird. So like I at first I wasn't feeling it, but the more I've been playing Sandland, the more I've been liking it. So
really,
yeah. At first I was it was slow. It was really really slow, but then but when the map opens up to you a little bit more, then what you can do with your customizations are a little bit bigger, then it gets better. Now I don't know how much better per se, but I would say that the original feel of it was to me like a cookie cutter RPG anime RPGs that Namco Bandai used to do all the time at first, and now it's still kind of there, but it's like it's not as bad. So there you go. So yeah, so hopefully we want to finish that up. I'm thinking about 100%ing it now at this point. It doesn't seem like it's gonna be really hard. So
but anyways, might as well go all the way,
That's exactly it, because I know like once I'm done with it, I don't think I'm ever going to come back to it. So we'll see. But I know I don't want to talk about Sandland, and I know y'all probably don't want to hear me talk about Sandland, so we'll go through the normal rigmarole that we like to do each and every week. So each of us chooses a topic of discussion in the world of video games that happened in the previous week. The topic would or could be a game itself or something that happened in the gaming industry, and we do not want to talk about gaming amongst ourselves. We want you, the listeners and viewers on Twitch, Kick, and on YouTube, to be a part of the conversation as always. So if there is something that you see or wanting to chime in about, by all means, we encourage it. Type it inside the chat. We would love to discuss it with you, and we will go from there. So let's get this party started. And I want to talk about something that's really kind of like it's kind of funny. Like prior to the start of the podcast, I've been kind of going in and out on this because I want to. Every time I think about it, it just gets me worked up, and it's really this week is the big news that about Xbox. So what happened, if you have not heard, Microsoft has shut down four different studios within their reigns. Out of the 4 studios, 3 of those studios were part of Bethesda, which was Arcane Austin. Those were the people who did Redfall, Dishonored, and Deathloop. Alpha Dog Games, which is basically the iOS game. They did a lot of iOS games and Android games, as well as and there was a third studio. Technically it wasn't shut down. It was just absorbed within the what group was it again? Donk, I can't remember.
They're into ZeniMax, the studio that does the Elder Scrolls Online.
Yeah, there we go. ZeniMax. Thank you. Despite that terrible news, Tango Gameworks was also a big hit. Was a hit from this. This was this group was the people that created Hi-Fi Rush. This is their first and only game that they created, mind you. So they didn't even give it time for it to get bigger for it. So now why is this an issue? Besides the fact that because of the amount of not unemployment, but the people them removing jobs and losing like people in the industry is losing a lot of positions in the industry. This move is completely contradictory of what they've been trying to feed everyone, what they were trying to do in the first place. Because Phil Spencer has said in the past that the one thing that he would not do is to push against creative aspirations. But then you get rid of Tango Gameworks, which Hi-Fi Rush may have not have been a AAA title, but it sold fairly well to a point where it was like, okay, we see a direction that this studio could possibly be. We can't wait to see what other games it could possibly make. And then, but now Xbox is now saying that they can't afford these kind of small indie like budget like games and support it because they quote unquote outsold they spent too much. And I'm like, y'all spent too much. Y'all decided to spend over $100 billion to get these studios in to do something specific that y'all were wanting to do. And then now you're saying that the thing that's limiting you are those said studios that's going to give you that limitation to kind of give you more money. That doesn't make any sense at all to me. And I'm just like, this is ridiculous. Because then what's even worse, what's really more annoying is that one of the heads, Matt Booty, which is an incredible name, said that. We need smaller games that gives us rewards. And I'm like, what was Hi-Fi Rush to you, man? Hi-Fi Rush gave besides like Hi-Fi Rush was the thing that is exactly what y'all were trying to go with direction. Y'all were saying that this is the kind of games that you were wanting to go not even a year ago. And now you're shutting this studio down because you're saying that the amount that y'all overspent. It's like, this is like, y'all are just talking out of your ass at this point. And how the hell do you expect me? Because I didn't trust you when y'all were saying this is the stuff that y'all were going to do in the first place. But like, how are you going to just say this stuff without even think about the stuff that y'all were that you said that y'all were planning on doing? It just irritates the hell out of me when I see this stuff. I guess the only argument for all of this is like the reason why that they're wanting to do this down for these cuts was because they're seeing that Game Pass is slowing down, like overall, like the amount of people that new Gamecast owners are it's now starting to kind of slow down a lot more than what they were anticipating, as mixed with the lower console sales and a mix with more delays of their bigger AAA games and stuff that made them decide to start shutting down some studios. Arcade Austin, which is the one that I kind of really was surprised about too, despite the fact that they had a horrible game with Redfall, shouldn't have been the end all be all because of the deal. I mean, it still was like unbelievable that y'all are deciding to just just give it the axe. So like, I just kind of wanted to get y'all's thoughts about this, because there's some more I wanted to talk about this, but I wanted to get y'all's opinions on what about this news and then what you heard about it.
Sure. So a couple things, like points you made, especially on their excuses, like with the money stuff and like, reinvesting in their big AAA blockbuster titles, which is like, the main point that they're trying to make. Is kind of even double down bullshit, because Microsoft recorded like $20 billion in profits up from like their last year, like this year.
Mm-hmm.
Say that number one more time.
20 billion. I think it's 19.8 billion.
Makes sense. Got it.
Okay. What they're up in profit. I mean, in profit, not just like in like total sales, like it's like actual profit that they've increased. And then you couple that with the fact that if the real reason is the delays to large AAA titles, well, then wouldn't it behoove you to have these hit smaller games? You have Hi-Fi Rush has won awards and incredibly successful, performed beyond everybody's expectations of what it would. It became like almost a cult classic. You have a franchise there that, is only going to continue to grow. And, you could easily build multiple episodes out of that. Like that is the Jet Set Radio of 2020, 2024. Mm-hmm. So to have a franchise like that hits so hard and has so many, fans, and then to just be like, screw this. We want to pump more money into, whatever the next, Elder Scrolls game or whatever it is that they're worried about. It just seems like so counterintuitive, because you have these other games that are performing well. You have really good studios that are obviously super talented with lots of people who are really crazy dedicated to what they're doing, putting out great games. And if your concern is that people aren't hopping on Game Pass, well, isn't having like a larger library of incredible games like exactly the thing that would do it? Like it's not like Starfield wasn't it. Like if that's what you thought was going to bring in millions of people into, Game Pass, like, well, it wasn't that. So you're doubling down on more giant AAA letdowns, and killing out these boutique studios doing amazing stuff, and then you're still recording crazy profits. So none of it adds up. It's like when you look at like their excuses and you look at like the reality of the 3 studios that were canceled, and even Arcane, like you could say like Redfall was a train wreck, or it wasn't whatever, but it was successful.
Yes.
It made them money. And so even then you have to go like, okay, every single one of these studios was a successful game studio, and Redfall had its issues, but at the same time, it wasn't a loss. It's not like, Anthem or something, right? Where you're hemorrhaging money and you just have to cut ties and run. So it's really weird, the whole thing. And what it really boils down to for me, because I'm very close to this industry, like, professionally, outside of just being a gamer, is this is trends from business school shitheads, to be completely honest. Like what it is, it has nothing to do with like them looking at studios and seeing that they're not going to be profitable or like shifting revenue in one direction or another. What it boils down to is, if you remove some of your assets, you liquidize like, cost, and when you have huge profits, then you look like you have even bigger profits than you did, right? Like if you can cut, like, I'm just going to make up a number, right? But like, let's say you cut $100 million worth of labor out of your deal, instead of having a delay for the next 2 or 3 years with those studios, where you're paying all those people to make the next game. They release a game, it's successful, you kill it right now. You've already gained the profit from that, and because your operating cost is lower, you can say our profits are up 20% instead of our profits are up 10%. And then the CEOs and the CFOs and the CTOs and all the people at the top and the shareholders, they get bigger cutbacks, like on everything. Like, so, the CEO gets a $10 million bonus instead of an $8 million bonus because they're 20% profit instead of 10% profit. That's really what's happening. It's like there's a select few very wealthy people at the tops of these companies. And this isn't just a Microsoft thing. I watch the show, I try to be here every single week, and I've seen this topic for the last year, right? Of studios being shut down, layoffs, blah, 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 blah. And it's a trend. It's not a thing being done by necessity. It's literally business people going, oh, look, this studio did that, so we should do that too.
Yeah, I mean, like, before you're going to say something, like, I was going to point out what Buddy said earlier. It says like, but they need trillions for AI, which is kind of funny. But
I hope AI buys video games, bro, because like that's the thing, is like they can put all that money into AI all they want, but when none of us have jobs, we can't afford to buy video games.
Then it's going to be too late.
I hope AI's got their mom's credit card and is willing to buy some loot boxes, because
it's going to be crazy. Lex, what are you going to say?
I didn't know about any of this. I've kind of been MIA to the world for like the last 3 weeks. The only information as far as video games coming in is what Adam has been like whispering in my ear. Did you hear about this today? No, I've been in bed sleeping. What do you mean? What Donk was saying is correct as far as like business school and all of that goes. So if these companies were doing well, you brought them in, they made good games, and you were making a profit off of it, and you were saying that this is what we wanted, and then you are then getting rid of them. I have questions, because y'all aren't giving me straight answers. You guys are giving bullshit answers in response, because that doesn't make sense. Last year, this is what you said you wanted. This is where you said you wanted to head to. But then you're getting rid of companies that are making really good games. I mean, Hi-Fi Rush, in all honesty, was a lot better than some of these AAA games that have been coming out in the last year, right? So and boutique studio is a beautiful way of putting it, because it is like a boutique studio, right? Like they had their set number of people create this game, make a profit from it, so much so that Microsoft wanted to bring them in, right? And then you're just getting rid of them, and your answers again don't make fucking sense. They don't make sense.
They don't want to stay in the lane. That's what their answers are showing.
Why are you picking them up then in the first place? Leave them alone. I don't know. Fun fact. Stop picking up companies just to then lay them all off. Right? Well, I mean, that's maybe I'm stupid, but that's what makes sense to me.
Well, it's the thing is, Lex, and sorry to interrupt you, Davies.
No, you're fine.
is that you're acquiring, like, from the standpoint of from games and gamers, right? Like it doesn't make sense to buy a company and then let go of everybody. But what they're buying is intellectual property.
Right.
So they're buying the ability to do whatever they want with Hi-Fi Rush moving forward, right? They also have the opportunity to hire from within those companies, and it's something that will that's not publicly available, so we'll never really know unless we really want to go investigate this ourselves. But I also am certain that there are very high up designers, technical artists, programmers, whatnot at those companies that were moved into other studios, other places as well. So as a way to acquire and consolidate talent.
Of course.
And then you just blast the rest of it out of the way. So you get the profits, you get the IP, you get your pick of the talent that you actually want, and then you remove all overhead and managerial oversight.
No, I definitely understand that as a normal, like when something like that happens, as a normal system of doing things. But here's the thing that really kind of throws me off on here. And Rickety Rex says here too, this is super annoying. How can you ever trust Xbox? Simple, you can't, you don't, you shouldn't. Because this is the funniest thing to me that I've told Smitty like hundreds of times that this process isn't a new process for Microsoft. It is not. They've always done this. This is the funniest. They're just repeating their system, saying that it's going to work. Going to work when it comes to these kind of trying to. Either close shop on on these studios. They're supposed to make games and stuff to make it a plentiful environment and do different kinds of things for their platform and stuff. But it always either something comes up like what was the name of that one game? Crime, was it Crime something? I can't remember what it was called, but anyways,
Crime Stoppers. I don't know.
There was a game that they were like really hyper. They were really hyped on wanting to make it the next big thing and the next big IP, but they didn't because of delays and other issues on the back end. But dude, they destroyed Rare. For instance, they destroyed Rareware had a great reputation, gone from this stuff. I guess Team Ninja back in the day were doing a lot more. They're still around, but however, it's still nowhere near the shell of what it once was because ever since they were owned now by Microsoft and stuff. I mean, we're still waiting for the sequel to Senua's Sacrifice, and that's Team Ninja. That was 4 years ago when they announced this kind of stuff, and now they're saying that their biggest focus is their AAA titles. Here's the question: what AAA titles that Microsoft that are there that is known on this deal? I mean, like, you got Halo, you got Gears of War, you got what's it called? The racing game, not Project Gotham. Anyways, the racing game comes out every other year. Forza. Thank you for Forza and stuff. And then now you're going to make the chances with the new IPs with Indiana Jones, which isn't really yours. That you're definitely leasing it out from Disney. And you also got like these other like possible IPs and stuff. It's like you're wanting to make games. You spend what was it, $7.5 billion for Bethesda. You even bought the competitor for Bethesda, which was Obsidian. On top of that, then you also got Then you spent $75 billion on Blizzard, Activision Blizzard, for already entitled games with the Call of Duties and whatever Blizzard's library of games. Because I don't even know if they're even working on anything new. It's still it's not going to be enough. Now now the AA, the indie titles, the stuff that you said that you were wanting to do. What's going to happen with Team Ninja? What's going to happen to all the other small studios that you purchased along the way for these big ass purchases? Now you're saying you overspent, and you're back in the same position. There's nothing that your main focus is still going to be depending on is Xbox Game Pass, which is slow as it is. It's like, what are y'all like? What are you building? You're not even telling me. You're not even really showing a clear way of what you're building, and trying to show these positive like profits and stuff because and justifying your reasoning on doing this stuff. It just doesn't make any sense. Like, you're spinning the freaking wheel, and it drives me insane to see this again.
Well, and to back up what you're saying, dude. Like, again, you're approaching this with like logic, and that's the problem, because you know, it always comes back to this point that you're making about like them saying that they you know, they weren't making money and that they needed, like, and it's patently false. Right? It's like me slapping you and telling you that I didn't do it. You know, like so you can go, you know, like blame whatever you want. Like they can say whatever the hell they want, but they literally, their profits are bigger than they've ever been right now. So to go into this and say, you know, oh, it's we allocated the wrong funds, yada yada yada. It's all bullshit, and that's my problem. Is like, it's if that was the case, if Microsoft was like, oh, look, we didn't grow. Oh, we actually spent that $70 million or $1 billion, and we haven't made any money back. Like the fact that you are $20 billion over your profit from last year, which was a successful year, is just absolutely ridiculous.
Mind-boggling.
Because you're using that number 78 billion, and you're going, you know, like, yeah, that's a ton of money. Like, why would you buy all those studios? Well, the fact of the matter is just between, you know, the last year and this year, they've already made back a third of that money they've spent in one fucking year. And that's not including all their profit. I'm not even quoting whatever their actual profit is. I'm simply saying that this is the profit more than the profit that they were already making. So I look at it and I just go like, okay, then your excuse is non-plus. I think in the reality of it is the only thing that makes sense to me, knowing that, is this was an issue of either wanting to fold in, like playing favorites within their network of studios that they own, where they want to acquire some IPs, whether that's Prey or something else. Maybe the management across these other studios are harder to deal with. There's integrity issues in regards to like what they want to do versus what Microsoft is asking them to do, but they have other studios that are easier for them to deal with, or that they believe in more, or whatever it is. So acquiring those studios, getting those IPs, and being able to use those IPs at other studios. Because you say like, you know, the AAA argument. I mean, Arcane has what, 3 huge intellectual properties, like AAA intellectual properties, between Prey, Dishonored, and we won't even count Redfall, but there's another one that they did that's also really big. So then that's like, even like, it's like, so what do you do with those IPs? Dishonored is an incredibly loved, you know, intellectual property. So
yeah, it's been a bit for us to see another one of that. So yeah, it could have been in due time, you know. What
was the time travel-y game? That's the other one I'm thinking of.
Time Splitters?
No,
the Arcane did.
Hold on, I'll look it up.
You said it at the beginning of the show.
Yeah, you did. You and I don't know if you played it, but I know. There you go, Deathloop.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. I mean, what Bunny's saying here, they are probably overpromising shareholders and cutting their underperformers. I know that is definitely not the case. I don't think that it's the case, because like, if that's the case, they would have I think we would have saw cuts on, like, you know, employee cuts instead of shutting studios down. At that point, like, you're shutting giant studio, like, I'm not giant studios, but studio down nonetheless, towards that, because like, if you have an indie studio that, like, I mean, there's no way in my mind to think that, Tango Gameworks is a huge studio. I don't think it is. Not like, how big is it? I'm gonna find that out. But like, for
a couple hundred, right?
Because if someone, especially if it's a shareholder thing, for instance, for them to say, okay, we're gonna shut down Tango Gameworks. How much money are they gonna be? Is this as a studio worth for us? That is a penny. Like, that is such a small bottom in the barrel, like penny in the bigger bottle issue, that I don't even think that they're going to lose money. Yeah, thank you. Dropping, but I don't know why I can't even think of it.
I knew what you were thinking.
Yeah, for them to say, we got to get rid of them. We got to get rid of them and stuff. This is like, maybe, and Tango Gameworks, I don't even know how long they've been around. Like, I don't even think they have to be fairly recent. You know, so like, oh, I'm sorry.
No, I was gonna say, and like, in Bunny 3000 is correct, I think, on the first one with the over promising on shareholder stuff.
But yeah,
the cutting underperformers thing. simply isn't like these studios. None of them were underperformers. Like they were all hit studios. Like, and not only that, hit studios recently. It wasn't like we were like holding on to, you know, like, oh, they did something cool in 2007.
Heavy baggage. Right?
It was like they are award-winning, massively successful studios. And on top of that, with and I forget which one of the three studios it is that did Hi-Fi Rush, but like that's a brand new IP on top of that. So you're like brand new IP, hit game, award-winning, huge profit. We're closing you down. So the only thing that makes sense in my mind is the share, like that it was about shifting the numbers. It's a numbers game simply by they go, our operating cost is 100 billion. Our profit is 200 billion. If we remove $20 billion worth of operating costs, then our profits go up from 16% to 21%. And then they look like gods. Instead of reporting 16%, it's 20%. And so I think it's literally, you know, the accountants doing what accountants do and saying, you know, if you move this number here and you subtract that number there, then you're going to make another $1.8 million this year in bonuses. And that's it. I literally think that's the real meeting that's happening. And I think Davies, and I know that we were going to talk about this moving forward, but it's like when you look at Microsoft's CEO, the Microsoft Game CEO, in her interview, you know, her non-plus answers are exactly what you would expect from someone who just secured herself, you know, a $3 million bonus.
I think, I think that's greed is definitely, it has to be a little bit in the mix of all of this, but like, and I think that's what makes it really, really saddening on this. If this is the direction that we're going to be seeing in like how gaming is, and what did you say like prior to before the podcast? Because you were saying that there was another studio that there could be possible further closures in the near future from him.
Oh, it was just one of like the tech futurist guys who works in like the game industry, like journalists, saying that like this isn't the last like you'll see from Microsoft. Like this is like phase one. Like there's no confirmation on that being whatever. But there's a guy whose name is Paul Thurrott. And he is like considered to be like whatever, a tech journalist, award-winning tech journalist. I don't know anything about the dude really, but he just had made some statements that there's more to come, and that there's going to be more consolidations, and it's going to result in more job losses.
Okay, so
it's not anything official, but it's a guy whose literally job it is to look at like the game industry and game business, and that's his thing.
Okay,
but and as part of that article too, just because you asked, it shows that like since January, or in January alone, 1,900 people were let go by Microsoft.
Jesus, man, that's crazy. And it seems like the studio too, like Tango Gameworks only had 65 people inside their group as a studio, a whole studio there. So not like definitely nothing. It's nothing compared to like the. For Xbox themselves to just cut them off like that. But I did pick it up because I was going to say too. So in response to people's outcry on like why the hell like Microsoft wanted to do this, Sarah Bond, who is the president of Xbox, went on a show to explain like, you know, for an interview, open interview, and was asked directly about the closure of Tango Gameworks. And what she says was like, was more than just word salad. It was just practically, I don't even know what to describe it. It was just like, not only did she completely dodge the question, it was just like, you wasted our time. And every time I'm thinking about it, I always think of that Billy Madison thing at the end saying, what you just said made everyone in here dumber, because that's exactly what happened in it. Cause like, so basically what she said back when asked the question on that was, and this is in I quote, one of the things I really love about the games industry is its creative art form, and it means the situation and what success is for each game and studio is also really unique. There's no one size fits all to it for us, and so we look to each studio, each game team, and we look at a whole variety of factions when we're faced with making decisions and trade-offs like that. But it all comes back to our long-term commitment to the games that we create, the devices we build, the services, and ensuring we're setting ourselves up to being able to deliver for those promises.
So with that quote being said, right? Like, I would assume, had I not read that myself, that you misread everything, like you were dyslexic and you were just moving words around from some other thing, and that you were just saying like literally, I zoned out while you were saying it, and I've read it, so I know. But like, I was like trying to follow what you were saying, and it is the most. And I recommend to everybody in chat, like, you know, like, that you go, like, watch it or read it, like read the actual quotes that Davis just said, because I did it 3 times before the stream came up today, and after the 3rd time, like, I still had no fucking clue. Sorry, I don't know if that's a word we're allowed to say on the air.
It's okay.
I had no clue what she was saying, and you just read it to me, and I have no idea what you said. I lost respect for you while you were reading that. I was like, this man has lost his damn mind. Yeah. So.
Hey, it wasn't me saying that. It was her.
Know, but you just can't say, but there's certain things you can't say and not sound dumber, and whatever she said was one of those things.
That is true. It's just, it's just. It's so disheartening, man. And it's kind of, I'm tired of, you know, it sucks because I hate talking about layoffs. I hate talking about, like, but we've literally, it feels like we're literally talking about this every week. Like, last week was the topic I had was, should we be concerned about, like, you know, AAA studios? And then when all that happened, it was funny because, like, at the time it was Helldivers 2, Sony dropping the ball on that, and then the Unheard edition on Tarkov, and then it's just this, man. It's like we're just seeing, like, the ball drop so consistently, might as well not pick up the ball at all at this point. It's just really it's really discerning about, like, what, like, how these decisions making is going to be. Tango Gameworks could have been, we don't know what's being lost with Tango. At least Arcane Austin has already proven themselves, even despite Redfall's, like, you know, was still negative, but like you said, like Donk said earlier, it was still successful regardless. It's like it's like you're not giving these studios or smaller studios the thing that you said that you were wanting to do grow at all, and it's like, and it's just fucking
and the
annoying.
amount of time that's passed is like nothing. I'm sorry. Within 6 months to a year, you want them to come out with another banger? That's not how things work.
Well, here's a good one just to follow up with this, right? To add a little bit more fuel to the fire, is that there's a news article from August of last year about Xbox being extremely happy with the Tango Gameworks and Hi-Fi Rush, and how they were, like, reinvesting in the company to move it forward. And the vice president of Xbox marketing at Microsoft, Aaron Greenberg, quoted that that the Hi-Fi Rush was a breakout hit. Right? Like,
oh my God. Okay.
So like, the thing is that, like, what changed from it being a breakout hit and this great thing that they wanted to continue to move forward with, to shutting the entire company down? And in defense, like, to play the devil's advocate, we don't know what's happened in the last year with that studio. Like, that game's out, it's being successful. It could be a dumpster fire over there, and there could be, like, you know, they're making no progress on their production of whatever their next title is. And so there are things that we may not know, but I feel like if you are going to absolutely, like, you know, blow everything up, right, like they did, and, like, kill these studios, then you can come out in that interview and say, you know, we evaluated the studios that we you know, acquired and their success, and we saw that there was, you know, a problem with, you know, delayed development, or current projects weren't moving in the direction that we wanted. You could be honest about it. You could say, this wasn't what we wanted. Like, we were happy with the game,
right,
but we don't feel that the company was something that we could trust moving forward, so we've chosen to move in a different direction. But you can't say that, because it's a blatant lie.
Right.
And then all we can hope for is that some of the people that are involved in this didn't take their exit money, right, all their severance pay, so that we can actually find out, like, how messed up shit really is.
Yeah, yeah. I guess also the bigger thing though too is, like, I guess the one thing I'm always worried about, because like I said, Microsoft bought these studios. They've had like it's some of these studios have been bought about the time it does take to build a game from scratch to the incubation period to when it comes out. It's already been 4 years for some of these studios, so theoretically we should be seeing some of these some of their efforts, their fruits of their labor to get from these studios to start seeing what Microsoft is going to be in the mix. Because the reason why they bought these games where they were wanting to still say, hey, look at these games that Microsoft are coming in. You should play on our play on an Xbox or I guess Xbox Game Pass to be able to play these games and stuff. But like now there's still nothing. I mean, it's still nothing, and now you know that they're willing to get rid of these smaller studios to stay afloat and just focus 100% on their quote unquote AAA titles, which I don't even trust them on that. So we'll see. So I guess the big thing is we'll see. I feel sorry. Rest in peace, Tango Gameworks. Rest in peace, Arcane Studios. I really hope to see what I just want to see a turnaround on this already. I'm so sick and tired of talking about this. It's not even funny, you know? So yeah.
The biggest problem is if you look at game news over the last 2 weeks, this is really all there was. It was literally the only thing that anybody's reporting on. Mm-hmm. There was a news post today, like an update from Microsoft, like recently, where their last comment since their doom and gloom shit has been that they're doubling down on their intention to bring all the Activision games to the Xbox Game Pass subscription, like all the Call of Duty titles, like legacy Call of Duty titles, like, the 27 or however many horrible clones of the same game that used to be good. And so it looks like that's what they wanted to do instead. Like they wanted to re-release Call of Duty on Game Pass instead of making new cool stuff for us to play. So
that's unfortunate.
I guess buy indie games, y'all. Let me tell you about Noita. Noita is a game. Noita is a pixel-based game that's simulated. The entire world is simulated. It's a very difficult roguelite style of game. Tons of replayability. It's like $20 on Steam, made by 3 guys in like Finland or something. You might have heard of Baba Is You. That was like their second game. Go buy that. Go buy that. It's incredibly difficult. You'll hate it at first, but you'll fall in love with it. Support those people.
I will always support indie games any day in the week. Like AAA titles are starting at like not even a big fan. If you want, you can put a link on it too if you have it, Don. But anyways, it's just a sad day. We'll move on. So, Lex, what is your topic?
Hello. Well, just a quick little update, if you didn't know. And I'm curious what Davis has to say, because I talked about this last week with Helldivers forcing people to sign in to their PlayStation Network accounts. And Davis, not to say anything negative, but he was a little lackadaisy about it. He was like, I don't see the big deal. He sees it now. But Sony has backtracked. They put out on May 5th on Cinco de Mayo, they said, Helldivers fans, we've heard your feedback on the Helldivers 2 account linking update. Oh, did you? The May 6th update, which would have required Steam and PlayStation Network account linking for new players and for current players beginning May 30th, will not be moving forward. We're still, excuse me, I'm sorry. I clicked something and now it has to open. We're still leaning. We're still learning what is best for PC players, and your feedback has been invaluable. Thanks again for your continued support of Helldivers 2, and we'll keep you updated on future plans. So they have backtracked, but Davis has uncovered some things since last week to now, so I'm curious what he has to say.
Well, first off, I will say this. I'll eat crow when I can and admit when I don't know, like, overall, because last week because like that was really the first time I initially heard of it. I heard about this issue, and theoretically, and so I was just assuming like at first I didn't think it was like what was the big deal, and I was like saying, hey dude, there's like always a sign in. There's always a sign in for Activision and stuff like that. There's always a sign in for Epic and all these things. It's like I never really understood the full big deal of all of that. But then but after the podcast and I was like looking into it a little bit deeper, and then I was like, the reasoning on why they were wanting to do it was because of security and stuff from Sony. I was like, that is just laughable. Like that is just unbelievably laughable that that Sony's the one that cares about your security for it. And so I was just like, you know what? Okay, there's a little bit of deal. But then the thing that really kind of got me was the fact that the regions that don't have Sony PlayStation or the PSN network or whatever, they're going to be SOL at that point. You know, like they're just out of luck. And I was like, okay, so and then I was given the benefit of the doubt last week, saying they're Sony. How the hell would they set themselves up in a situation that they're just going to just say no to money at that point? And let alone, why did they sell it to those regions if they knew it was a temporary thing, and then it wasn't going to be that it was going to be available at that point? That just region locking your game at that when you do that. So there has to be a way. But apparently no, there wasn't. They were planning on shutting that down completely with the region and all that stuff. They were willing to do that, and so I'm like. And in some weird places, like for instance, like oddly enough, like Ukraine, the only way you can get a PlayStation account in Ukraine is you have to have a PlayStation 5 to create the account. The account itself. If you don't have a PS5, you can't create the account on your PC. So certain weird things like that. So I was like, oh my God, dude, this is a nightmare. And you allowed all these people to do this? It's like, yeah. And so anyways, so I digress. The overall thing is the fact that like whatever the higher up said, yes, this was a good idea, should be like demoted, like not touch anything on these plants ever again. That is like, it doesn't even make any sense when it comes to all of this. So, but I'm just glad that they did renege on what they were going to do. However, I'm thinking to myself, I'm just disappointed, and it's not even a kudos to Sony on this, because I was just disappointed on what it took for them to do that. Is crazy. Like because usually I'm not about bombing, bombing like a game, because it's not necessarily the developer's fault. It's usually the publisher that's usually the one that kind of sets himself up for these kind of levels of failure. But when the developer is telling their community to do that, so they can actually have the publishers look at, this is what everyone is saying about this game, and then it got to a point that it hit over 250,000 downvotes, which, by the way, more downvotes than Overwatch at the time, Overwatch 2 at the time, which is scary. To do all of that, to show the level of effort that we as the community had to do for them to just blink an eye and say, okay, this is a bad idea, is unfreaking believable to me. And I'm just like, and I'm just so amazed that, like, well, first off, shout outs to the community of Helldivers, because y'all definitely brought it up, and now we're responsible of cleaning up all those downvotes to clear out the deal and stuff. So I'm just like amazed that this, like, that all this took as long as it did, for 4 days, which is surprising that they were not planning on moving it. But still, the repercussions are still the stuff. The damage has still already been done. During that time, Steam removed 177 countries of Helldivers 2 because of this planned region lock that was going to happen at the beginning of the week, and those countries are still not not back yet. So like that's still like, so what does that say? You know, all these different kinds of things and all these different kinds of aspects. So I'm just disappointed. I mean, there's no other way to really say. I think this is a really big blunder, one of the biggest blunders so far this year on the, and it all was manufactured by Sony towards that. So I mean, that's my thoughts. I love the game still. I'll still play the game, but what do you think, Donk?
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, it's a blunder, but like my thing is it like, and this is gonna date me and also be a really stupid thing to say on this stream, but it's like the presidential race, like back in like the 90s or 2000s. I remember like there was a big thing when it was like George Bush versus someone, I forget, and the comment came up that like that someone was a waffler. I forget who it was, but like like his whole thing
Ross
was like
Perot.
no, it wasn't Ross Perot. It was like whoever the Democrat was. Like the whole campaign against him was that the guy has changed his mind over time. And the argument
that had to have been Clinton then, right?
No, because Clinton won. It was the guy after Clinton. But either way, the point of it is that they absolutely destroyed this man by the idea that he like flip flops. He was a flip flopper was the thing they kept saying, and that was like I remember. I don't even think I was old enough to vote yet, but I just remember like every ad on television was flip flopper, flip flopper, flip flopper, flip flopper. And this person made this argument that was, I'd rather have someone who evaluates their decisions and changes their mind than someone who does some dumb shit and keeps going with it, right? Just so they don't have to look like they were wrong. And so with Sony, it's like, yeah, it was dumb shit. Like we all understand it, but at least Sony like backtracked it, and the damage is done, sure. But at the same time, the effect that it's going to have on their player base is marginal. Like it'll come back to Steam. I'm assuming people will get to move forward. When you look at Ghost of Tsushima, like whatever Director's Gold Platinum release that's coming to PC, like it's still going to be affected from what I understand by the PSN thing. So even though they backtracked the Helldivers thing, they're going to still enforce it on other titles. So it's really weird. So I don't think that the players necessarily won, like maybe Helldivers won.
Yeah. Well, what happened on that was because so originally the original plan was Helldivers 2 was going to be backed by this the Sony thing when it first came out, but because there was issues when the Helldivers 2 came out, there was issues with that authentication, so they removed it, and they said in the post saying that it's going to come, but they didn't tell you when it was going to come out. So then now they're like saying, okay, it's coming now. So this is what we're going to do. But it was literally 3 months later at this point, it's been established, with this. And now they're saying it. And now it's a problem because they sold it to countries that can't, that can't do it, which is weird.
Right. Which why even do that in the first place?
Well, that's what I'm saying. That like, but Ghost of Tsushima was delisted in the 180 countries that were banned. That's what I'm saying. Is like, so people didn't win. Yeah. Like they just decided that they didn't want to have to refund.
Yeah. And Ghost of Tsushima,
3 billion people,
Yeah, Ghost of Tsushima isn't even out yet though. It comes out on the 16th.
So I'm saying, but I'm saying the countries that were able to like pre-order that game, it's been delisted based on like where they're
because of it. Okay,
So because they are going to enforce the same thing on that title.
Yeah, but the thing with Ghost of Tsushima though, the difference is that the thing that's making it online is not the game itself though. It's the multiplayer aspect of the game that is that's going to go by that reason. So you don't need a PlayStation Network account to play the game, but if you want to play the online, because there was a multiplayer online game that was a side game on it, you do have to do that. That's the way it is.
But why delisted in 180 countries for that reason, right? I
honestly don't know, man.
One of the comments I saw on one of these articles.
Please.
Well, but it's not money. Like you're literally.
I know.
You're literally double reverse circumcising yourself at this point.
I think
it doesn't make sense. Like
I think they're moving like hard directions. Like there's no in between. Like there's it's either all or there's nothing. Right. And then I think that like how they're overcompensating with these bans, which is with these removals, is overcorrecting of the issue that they had initially from what this one did, like what they just experienced on Helldivers. That's the only reason. That's the only thing I'm thinking of. I'm not saying that's what it is. Who knows?
Yeah, I don't know. It's the whole thing is honestly stupid.
Yeah,
and again, it's the problem. It's the problem with people going to business school.
I think that's exactly what it is. Like, I think their own hubris of like thinking like, oh, we know better, we know what we're doing, and we're doing this. I mean, don't get me wrong, Sony's there to make the money. It's trying to make the monies, you know. But then at the same time, it's like y'all are doing a really shitty job on this because you don't know the people that you're catering to. You don't know to this level on like, especially the PC master race. To tell them like to say to them is like, hey, you're gonna want us to log into a Sony account. Like the reason why I have a PC is to not do that.
Like, yeah, exactly.
It's just
because I don't want one, sir.
It's ridiculous. So, but I mean, I guess you're right. Give credit where credit is due. Donk, like, yeah, at least they did change. They changed back, but it's still a half. I mean, it's still like small victory.
It's very stupid. I'm not defending them at all. I'm just saying that, like, you know, I would rather a company like make a huge mistake and then go sorry than to have them make a huge mistake and then double down and say we don't give a shit, deal with it.
True.
That's the point I'm trying to make. Like, these people are going to do dumb shit. Like, they live in alternate realities where everything is calculated with 9 zeros behind it, and you know, and integrity, and you know, consumer confidence, and all these other things. They don't care because they understand how a marketing machine works, and they're going to slam people with, you know, enough propaganda to get them to buy whatever the hell they want them to buy. You know, and people will sit and they'll bitch about all this shit, but like, you know, you gotta do it with your wallets, you know. And like, I don't know if people remember, but like Ubisoft went through all this stuff years ago, when they were like putting out when their internal goal was to have an Assassin's Creed game be released every year.
Yep.
And they started putting out like absolute broken garbage, and the fan base like basically blacklisted it and was like, we won't buy Ubisoft games. And they had to change like their entire studio development process. And we're like, okay, we're not going to do this anymore because like literally people started voting with their wallets, and you couldn't go to an Ubisoft page or a news article about Ubisoft for probably a full year or two, where the first comment and the next 70 comments were like, do not buy, do not pre-order, do not talk to Ubisoft in any way, shape, or form with your money. And they felt it. So if people want to make this a reality, like, then, you know, cancel your Game Pass subscriptions, cancel your PSN, right? Like, show them that you know, like, there are other ways. There are so many good free games made by small independent game companies that you can go play, but these companies know it doesn't matter because they know you're at home with your fucking, you know, Kratos fucking waifu pillow, you know, crying in its shoulder all night long, being like, when is I going to get another time to play with Kratos' hot body? And then you're going to throw your $70 at him anyway. So it doesn't matter what they do because you're not going to just, you know, abstain from your addiction. So, you know, it is what it is. But like I said, like, every one of these large corporations are not anybody that you should trust. And, you know, but again, if you're going to spit in my face, at least say sorry afterwards. And I will give Sony at least partial props for apologizing after they spit in my face.
Fair enough. That's good. That's a good way of saying of describing it. But okay. But no, I mean, I'm sorry. Was there anything you wanted to chime in on this too, Lex?
No. I'm good. Sorry, I forgot.
Okay.
I didn't mute my mic before I adjusted my seat.
Okay.
Just little.
We heard you fart. It's okay.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's all
Farty
good.
Lex.
Nope. All right. But but anyways, hey folks, thank you for listening to episode number 218.
Oh, you didn't ask me what my topic was.
Oh, I'm sorry. I totally forgot. Sorry. I just went blank. I went completely blank.
You were just staring at his nips.
I don't blame him. It's probably hard to get anything accomplished with like that body just staring back at you.
You have the shirt off, man. What can I say, dude? It's magnetizing. Sorry, what was your topic, Dunk?
So I had a couple little things. None of this stuff is like really big. It's just like kind of like news that we didn't talk about. So on the upside, since everything has been just massive negativity all day long, there was a release of a trailer. Mark Hamill's back as the voice of the Joker from like the old like 90s, 2000s like animated Batman show for the game Multiverses. So that's really cool. That's like, you know, he's in my opinion like the best Joker that there's ever been, and so I'm stoked on that. There's if you like drama, that's not necessarily negative or positive, but you just like to like laugh at things. There's this game Stellar Blade that I've never heard of, but apparently a bunch of weebs like really were into it. And I guess they censored something for American audiences, which is like typically the opposite, right? Like we don't get censored stuff and they censor other stuff. And so if you want to watch a bunch of like incels and weebs like just absolutely implode, go to anywhere on the internet where this game is being talked about. It's hours of fun to watch people get upset about that.
Do you know what's funny? I played Stellar Blade and I was like, okay, what's the big deal? You know what's kind of funny to me? Like I didn't really. It's funny when you hear these articles and stuff, but the article that actually brought this whole bullshit to the game is actually, I think it really helped the game sell because of this was the IGN article that happened, the IGN France article where they were like saying, oh, this person doesn't even know the people who created this don't even know how to draw a woman or whatever, like how the statement that was told. But like the game itself is not bad. I mean, it's like it's a fine game, but this kind of reminds me of, do you remember Nier Automata when it first came out? And then they were like saying like with 2B and stuff, but then like you can explode her dress and then it's just she's just wearing a onesie or whatever with a G-string on the back. And then they're like, then people were flipping their heads over on this kind of deal for the same thing about like objectifying the main character and stuff, because she's a woman and things. I was like thinking to myself, just play the damn game. It's like, what
here's my things. There are books that are terrible and I don't read them. Right? There's books about things that I don't want to hear about. I don't want to have described to me, and I just abstain from it. Like if somebody wants to make a game where a woman runs around naked and shoots tentacles out of her vagina, killing babies, I don't care. I don't care. The people who want to play it, go play it. That's why we have rating systems. Right. And if a vendor like Steam or another place doesn't want to sell that game because they feel like it's against their company policies, then that's fine too. But like the idea that like anybody gives a shit what anybody else is playing is ridiculous. And the argument, like, and I might catch flack for this, and so Lex, you can call me out. I'm happy to be called out as misogynistic for this. But I'm on it. It's the same shit we were talking about with like the over sexualization of females in the game industry. It is always a completely blind argument, because when you look at all of the other games that don't do it, nobody ever wants to bring those up. No one wants to talk about Horizon Zero Dawn or something else. They want to pick on the one game that fits into that category, and they want to ignore like a game that deals with like strong female protagonists like Heavenly Sword on like PS3, right? Like everybody ignored the shit out of the game. Nobody ever wants to talk about it, but you're dealing with a strong female protagonist. You're dealing with mental health issues. She's taking care of her mentally disabled younger sister. And is like both powerful and vulnerable, and it's a great thing. And you don't want to have that argument. You want to talk about how you don't like that in some random ass anime hentai game that like, you can see too much butt crack. Like, it's like, who gives a fuck? Like you pick, it's cherry picking.
It really is.
Like, oh, there's too many violent video games, bro. There's violent video games because people want them, but you can go over on the other side of the aisle and you can play a game about an old couple, reminiscing their lives that has no violence and no curse words and is all about emotion. There's games for everyone now. And 20 years ago, it wasn't like that. But this is a tired ass argument. Like this argument now is about cherry picking and sensationalism. It's no different than the news when it comes to religion and identity politics. It's just to create a buzzword for people to fucking argue about. It's not real.
Yeah, I mean, and that's what drives me insane about, dude. Like, fine, if you have issues with the game, then that's cool. But then 9 times out of 10, the people that are raising the deal, raising the picket fences about, or the freaking totem poles with the freaking fire on them, are the people that are not going to play the game anyways. But yet at the same time, they're going to make you feel so shitty that you should feel bad about playing this, or you're deciding to play this game. Which I really hate the fact that you're literally bullying a person to try a game out that that an individual's playing. Who cares if this dude loves hentai or whatever or whatnot, or they wanted to, or whatever the reason why they're wanting to play it is their sole reason alone. Someone's at my door, so but like I just think that so I just think that it's just like I always hate the fact that people should not act shitty or feel like they're negative to it. Just like the freaking Harry Potter situation that happened last year, where so many people, you remember, streamers were not wanting to stream because they were like saying, "Oh, if you play Harry Potter, then you're for this one character." I'm like, calm down.
But that's fine. But that's fine. That is someone making their stance. Right. Like that's the thing is like, we had a completely unrelated conversation before we got on stream, and we made this exact same point about some other stuff. And I'm not going to bring any of that up, but like, it's the same thing. If someone feels very strongly about a point and that they want to take that stance and they want to, that's someone speaking with their wallet. That is someone saying, I'm not going to buy this. I'm not going to support it. The comments associated with this product, I'm not okay with. But the problem isn't the people who won't buy it or play it. The problem is with the people who are actively trying to prevent other people from participating in something that they may want to play. You can't tell me that like some 8-year-old kid who hasn't even formulated opinions on any of those concepts should be bullied into not playing Harry Potter because of a political stance or belief. Now, I personally understand like the side of boycotting that game. I don't think it's bullshit. I think that if you are a public figure, and you have a stance that is, derogatory or hateful towards any group of people, you should keep your fucking mouth shut and say that stuff in closed doors or your friends. And it shouldn't be your public stance. And if it needs to be your public stance, then accept the repercussions of people going, "You're a bigoted piece of shit." But you can't bully people because they really love Harry Potter and they want to play it and they're willing to overlook that. So I think that that's the bigger issue is people going after other people for their interests, like what you said, David, before you left. But I have one more thing, and I don't mean to cut anybody out. But it's actually really big news. But it's for it's a really big genre of gamers. But I don't think it's anybody necessarily here listening to the show right now. But if you're familiar with sim racing in any way, shape, or form, there's the kind of premier peripheral manufacturer, Fanatec, and they make like pretty much all of the they make entry level stuff too, but they make very high end stuff. And for years, you've had like Logitech and some of these like kind of like middling, low level like people making steering wheels and racing accessories. And Fanatec has always been kind of like the gold standard for high quality products. They were just acquired by Corsair, which is terrifying. It is because it's like Razer, like buying your favorite like keyboard company. You're just like, oh shit, well everything is screwed now. So that just happened yesterday or the day before, and so that will be an interesting thing if they just acquire it for the profit and allow Fanatec to continue to operate as Fanatec has operated for the last couple decades, or if this means that racing game or people who buy racing, simulation steering wheels and whatnot are now stuck with cheap plastic, terrible crap.
Mr. Seven Figures got it. RGB racing wheels are in the future. That's what's going to happen.
Yep, there you go. Exactly. With LED screens in the middle that show you your X feed.
Exactly. With a built-in stream deck from Elgato, the company that they have. Oh no. That's unfortunate, man.
So that's the one piece of gaming news this week that hit me the hardest was oh no, I better buy a Fanatec steering wheel now before it's too late.
Yep.
I didn't even know you were into racing games that much.
It's actually Reggie who got me into it. Like I've been into racing games like for a very long time, but it kind of is one of those things where it's like it was always like Gran Turismo with like a controller. I never like did sim racing, right? But I really, as a teenager, I loved Gran Turismo like 1 and 2. And I never really got into like the sim stuff. And then what actually reinvigorated us is back when we were streaming, Forza Horizon 4 came out, and we had the Game Pass. So one day we decided that we were just gonna we didn't know what to play, so we decided we'd play Forza. And I know that, Mr. Seven Figures, you are also a Reggie squared. So we played it and we had a blast. And I don't know if you guys were ever in our streams, but like we played a lot of it. Like for a month or two, we were Forza streamers.
You're all about it.
And it was super, super fun. And then that led Reggie and I down the path of buying our own wheels for the new Gran Turismo when it came out on PS5. So, and then, and I found it to be incredibly fun. If you enjoy racing games, having a steering wheel and pedals is a blast.
Is it 9-day difference on the feel of it though?
Yeah. It's you can be just as good on a controller. I honestly believe you maybe you have in order to get from like really good to like great, you have to have the thing. So it doesn't make your game play better necessarily, but it makes it just a much more enjoyable experience. Like the force feedback, like when you're turning into a corner, like it feels like a car. So like there's like this like simulated G-force. So you can just like control things a little bit. They're really, really fun and immersive. And what we did is we got the PlayStation VR 2s and actually raced with the VR headsets on. And that is a blast.
Wow.
Like I don't really like VR, but driving a car like with a steering wheel and pedals with a VR headset is like an incredibly immersive, fun experience. That if you have a friend who's got that set up and you're not interested, I recommend that you take them up on just trying it one time. It is just so much fun.
Sounds awesome, man. Yeah, definitely.
So the only problem is that you kind of have to have the space to do it. So, I have to disassemble my living room to race, and then so my coffee table and couch are like moved up against the walls, and I'm sitting on a chair in the middle of my living room, and then it's like, oh shit, company's coming over. Like I think when Smitty came out here, he was going to a wedding, and he came over. I think that's like what I did the day before he came. It's like I had to put my whole living room back together because I was like, oh shit, Smitty's coming over, and right now my coffee table's upside down on my couch, pushed against the wall, and but yeah, super fun.
That's cool, dude. Well, that's awesome. I think definitely check that out. So it definitely hits different.
Just buy your Fanatec wheel right now. Like, don't wait. The Corsair just bought them, so you have a couple months before you're
so bad. So, but Seven Figures is Flight Simulator is the same way. Well, where are you going to find? Do they actually have simulator yokes and stuff?
Yeah, dude, they have so much crazy shit. It's nuts. They even make just to put it in perspective, they make a simulator for whatever it is, like farm sim. Like, like the really big
tractors and stuff.
Like the ones, they make consoles that are like the buttons and controls for how an actual combine is driven, and people will buy like these, steering wheels with all these like crazy levers and dials and shit on it, so that when they're playing farm sim, they can like actually pretend like they're driving a tractor. It gets really granular, dude. People are into some weird stuff, and if you look at like Fanatec's website, you'll see like the number of different types of like steering wheels that they produce for people, because like some people might be into like rally racing and some people might be into like drifting, and here's a link to their website.
No, I'm in it right now.
Okay. But yeah, like if you look at like the different steering wheels that they have, there's like
that's
literally
insane.
Probably like 60 different steering wheels, and they're all like specifically built for different reasons. It's not just like they have like
Ferrari, they have freaking Formula 1, F1.
Yeah, but like even like Indy? The designs of the wheels, it's not just like because they want to make something different. It's like, a Club Sport GT wheel is for like, the kind of racing that's like Porsches, and then you've got like these F1 wheels, and then you've got rally wheels, and then you've got, wheels that don't have any controls on them at all, that are like for drifting, and like they have NASCAR wheels that are actually built on the spec of like the NASCAR car. It's really wild. Like it's like,
it's insane.
Yeah. It's a nuts thing. And when you look at the price tag on some like the really high end shit, when you get into like the F1 cars,
$1,000, $1,400.
Yeah, they run like $1,500.
Oh my god!
There's probably some other manufacturers that like build it like not mass produced, where you could probably get up into the $2,000 range for a wheel.
Unbelievable.
But yeah, it's pretty wild, and they're super nice. Is the other thing. Like that $1,500, the one that says Podium BMW M4 GT3 wheel at the top of their like page. I don't have that wheel, but I've played with it, and it's actually the exact same steering wheel that's in the M4 GT3 race car. Like it is not a replica. It's like it's real carbon fiber. It's all real metal switches. It's the same shifters. So it's like if you're a racing fan, Like, it seems insane for anybody to buy a $1,500 steering wheel. But if you notice, that steering wheel sold out on their page.
There's a freaking Club Sport handbrake that you can.
My God! I actually bought that. That's actually what I got Reggie for his birthday a couple years ago. Was a shifter, like a manual shifter. Because he's so into it.
Do you have a cockpit, or not a cockpit, but
no? So what I did, because of like mobility, I bought what's called a race stand. Uh-huh. So it's like a kind of collapsible like stand that you mount everything to, that you can like disassemble and fold up and put in a closet if you're not using it.
Oh, okay.
Gotcha. And it's pretty good. Like there's different like grades of them. The one I got's a pretty nice one, and so it's really sturdy and it's fine to race on. I think cockpits are ideal. To be completely honest, like if you're gonna put $1,500 into a steering wheel, you should probably buy a cockpit.
You go for broke.
But if space is limited, and my other thing was I wanted to be able to play on my computer and on my PlayStation, and so having something I could move from my desk to, my living room was like kind of a must. But yeah, you can get set up pretty good. Like the one that I bought was like super affordable. It was like the one that like Sony and Fanatec collaborated on specifically for Gran Turismo.
Oh, nice. Okay.
And it's like everything that you need in like one package.
That looks awesome, dude. Yeah. All right, but we'll need to close this off though. But that's awesome. That's awesome, guys.
You knew what you were getting into when you brought me on board.
I did.
You're like, this is going to be a 7-hour
That's why I tried to skip you. Like,
I was like, all right. And thanks for coming out, everybody. Check us out on all the different platforms.
Like, okay,
check
guys.
us out on Podbeam, Apple iTunes. What about me, Davies? What about me?
It'll be like, just like, okay, guys, bye. They just shut down the stream. But anyways, guys, thank you so much for stopping by and listening to episode number 218 of the CFG Game Cast. Thank you for being a part of the conversation as always. We will be back again next week with a whole new set of different topics and stuff. But if you did miss out on this episode, that is perfectly okay. We do release it on all podcast services at each and every beginning of each and every week. So there is absolutely no reason to miss out on our sexy voices.
Hello, Mr. J.
You can miss out on that though, so I'll be good. I'm just kidding. But guys, thank you so much, and we'll see you again. And also be sure to check out our main website, confreaksandgeeks.com, for some awesome, cool content. We're coming up with our next episode of the What Do You Think spoiler cast. I believe is going to be for X-Men 97 I think this is the last week when it comes. The last episode comes out this week, so. We'll catch you afterwards. So once again, this is Davis, Lex, and Donk signing off. Y'all, take it easy.
Bye.